to give a gift to all of you. Are you guys ready? The first gift I could give you is I could say the session is cancelled and we can have lunch. I think you'll all be very happy. But I've been told that I cannot do that. So I'm going to give you a second gift. Are you ready for that? Especially you. Are you ready for your gift? I'm going to give you 1 hour of great time. So just put your phones away. The world is not going to end. Your girlfriend is not going to run away. Your children are not going to be killed. So just put your phones down and listen to us. And I promise that I'm going to reach out to audience very quickly so that you can ask questions from our participants just as I do. Okay? Is it a deal? Okay, all right. So let me start with Swati. Swati Munjal. Can I call you Swati? You're much younger than I am. I was going to call you Swati Ji, but my wife's name is also Swati, and she's actually a few months older than me. So if I call you Swati Ji and not her, it won't be good, right? Okay. So many of you probably know Swati. She's part of the Munjal group, the family, which has been in business for a long period of time. But Swati herself, you went to Lady Shriram College, is that right? Okay. And then what do you do after that? Where do you go after?
So after that, I went to Cornell to do my
Cornell.
MBA.
Okay. Which one was a better experience for you? LSR or Cornell?
Both are fantastic.
Both are
in their own
fantastic.
ways.
She's. Have you considered politics as a career? Okay.
Both were at different ages, so they had left different impressions.
Okay, great. She's also worked for many multinationals, and now she has a twin role. Business is one part, but also philanthropy. So I'm going to come back to you and ask you how you actually manage that, because those two things don't always necessarily go together. But we are here to see how we can make these two things work together. So thank you for being here, Swati.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me go to Gopal next. I'm going to ask you all the tough questions, okay?
I'll try to answer.
Okay. So Gopal is with CGI, which is an IT and business consulting firm. Do you own like 100% of this firm or no?
I do own some stock, not 100% for sure.
You own some, but not all of it. And you are here because people think that you should be involved in CSR activity. So I'm going to ask you the tough question. I'm a shareholder of your company. You own 3%. Every time you give 100 rupees away, you only gave 3 of yours and 97 of mine. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, thank you for being our shareholder.
Okay. So I'll come back and we'll talk about this issue a little bit more. So thank you, Gopal, for being here. Let me go to my distinguished colleague from Hyderabad. We see each other all the time. Like we were there together yesterday at T-Hub. CEO of T-Hub, fondly known as MSR, but some people call him Srinivas. And I actually think you should use the name, your first M. Tell us what the M stands for in the MSR. Mahankali, okay. And what is the reference of Mahankali?
So many, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So my forefathers were temple priests in a small village near Anantapur, not too far from Bangalore. And that was a Kali temple. So
okay, that's what the Mahankali, okay. So I'm sure your parents are proud of you for what all you have done. MSR is what we call in the entrepreneurship world a serial killer. A serial entrepreneur. Killer because many of the companies you start, you end up selling to somebody else. So they get killed for a good reason. So you did it 2 or 3 times, is that right? Twice. So tell us about which two companies.
The first was I was part of the promoter team at a company called Network Solutions,
NetSol.
NetSol, which got acquired by IBM.
So
And,
that's the first killing you made.
Yeah, and the second was I started a cybersecurity company in 2008, and we sold that to the National Stock Exchange in 2019.
Okay. So he is independently rich, but now he's decided to give back to society. And at T-Hub, he is encouraging many, many entrepreneurs to come and do their thing for the society. So thank you for being here. Let me go to maybe you are the youngest in this group, I'm guessing. Anisha Ramakrishnan, director of Transworld, which is a shipping company. And one of the things you are involved with is trying to do it sustainably, reducing the carbon footprint. But you're also interested in many other things that I will come back and talk about. But you've studied at many places, right? Tell us, where did you start? What was your first one?
Sure. So, born and raised in Dubai. So my schooling, most of it was done in Dubai, and then my undergrad I did in the U.S. in Boston.
At Northeastern.
At Northeastern, yeah. And then I did my master's in London in shipping, trade, and finance at Cass Business School.
You got tired of living in Boston, so you went to London.
Went somewhere a little bit more colder and more rain, yeah.
Okay. And you were also in South Africa, I was told. What were you doing there?
Yeah, so there was actually a part of a program from my undergrad in Northeastern where we joined up with a university in South Africa and we spent around 6 months there. So it was almost like an exchange program where we worked on a hybrid model as well as a non-profit. So we picked up a few non-profits and helped them sort of scale up.
Okay. And now you're in India.
I'm now still based in Dubai, but in and out of India quite often.
In and out of
Yes.
India. Okay, so welcome.
Thank
So you can see that we have a very distinguished panel with very, very different, very deep experiences here. So can we go back to the question that I started asking Gopal, which is CSR is a difficult thing because if it's a corporation, look, if you have your own money and you want to give it away for good cause, good for you, kudos to you. But I'm a shareholder and I'm asking this question, how can you give my money away? And if I wanted to give money away, I'll give it out of my own pocket, right? Why should you do it? So I'm coming back to you, Gopal. Tell us why.
Yeah, I mean, let me start with what is our value purpose from CGI, and then I'll try to answer your question as well. So CGI, some of you may have heard, some of you may not have heard. CGI is one of the very few large IT company based out of Canada, and we are about $15 billion in terms of Canadian. And for us, CSR is one of our core value. In fact, it is one of our out of the 6 strategic goal, CSR is one of them. And through this objective is to be recognized by our stakeholder as a engaged, ethical, and responsible corporate citizen where we live and work together. So that's the purpose from a company. This happened much before the legislation came that we have to give 3% away. So it was not just for compliance, but this happens at a global scale. We are a large multinational, so we believe in giving back to the society in which we work. and
Okay,
live
okay,
together.
I don't buy it. What do you mean we believe in it? Who's we? We as in managers?
Yeah,
You, shareholders?
the
In other
company,
words, are shareholders okay with this?
yeah, they're okay with
And
it
why
because,
are they
yeah.
okay with it? Yeah.
So the company is still owned by the founder. The founder is about 72 years old today, and he's still the executive chairman of the company, and he holds majority of the share of the company, and he has his own foundation as well. So he does a lot more through his own foundation apart from the CSR initiative from the company. And uh, we believe that, or it goes through the board of directors, it goes through the shareholders meeting, that this is the right thing to do, and everybody is committed to it. So yeah, there may be a few shareholders who may not agree, but majority have agreed, and we are aligned in that sense there.
Okay, so let me rephrase and make sure I understand. I think what Gopal is saying is that the senior leadership has made their policy clear that we are going to do this. So they're not hiding from shareholders. And if you agree with it, stay a shareholder. If you don't, you can go and buy something else, right? So that's how you're getting consensus from. So let me ask a slightly different question. Is it because this is good for image building? Is this like part of advertising? Instead of spending lots of money paying Shah Rukh Khan to dance with this thing, just saying we are doing good will create a good image? Is that what it is?
No, I think it's not just for image. It's also it's for image to some extent. I don't deny that. Yeah.
Okay, here's an honest person right here. Okay, give him a round of applause.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we work globally, and sustainability and the CSR activities have become integral part of our society today. In fact, in the regions where we work, in the European regions, to even attract talent, today young generations are looking at the company's ESG policy and saying, do this company do enough for the society? Are they doing enough for the greater good of the world? And if they are not doing, they are refusing to join such companies. So it is also about attracting and retaining talent. It's about image building. It's about also believing everybody. I have been in this social service for many years. In fact, I've been associated for more than 20 years, not just in my company CSR activities, but also at a personal level. The joy that you get by giving something without having any expectation of return is tremendous. And once you introduce one or two individuals, you will see that they will pursue that forever. So this is, I think
that's an excellent point. So
yeah.
lest it go unnoticed, I think he's bringing a third point, which is it's not just image for selling goods, it's image for attracting good talent.
Yeah.
And I'll come to MSR, that the young generation now is much more inclined to do the right thing in addition. So this is a way of attracting the right people. In fact, I was reading about you. I always do homework. I was reading about CGI, and you were voted as one of the best companies for work-life balance, women, and you were one of the top employers. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah. So we spend a lot of effort and energy on ensuring that there is a proper focus given not just to our shareholders, but also to our members, our employees, and to the community, apart from the clients, of course. They are,
Okay.
of course, they are the annadatas.
Okay, let me go to MSR and ask you this question. You meet entrepreneurs every day. Are you detecting this shift that people are there not just to make money, but with a desire to do good? Are you seeing that?
No, I think particularly, so I guess most entrepreneurs recognize a couple of things, right? One is they have to pay it forward.
Can you hear him in the back?
Can you now?
Maybe put it closer to you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think most entrepreneurs, I think over a period of time recognize that, there's a, like they say, to use a cliche, it takes a village to raise a child, right? And a whole bunch of people have to be there around to support an entrepreneur to scale, right? So essentially, in most entrepreneurs, I think there's a kind of inbuilt mindset about paying it forward, one, right? The second, I think, is I think most of us recognize that we are all fortunate, privileged to be doing what we are doing, right? And we have a responsibility to leave the planet in a better place than when we came on.
Yeah.
Right? So these, I mean, most entrepreneurs I talk to,
Which is
right,
the
obviously,
best definition of sustainability
Yeah.
I've heard.
Yeah.
That when you come into this place, make sure when you leave it a little better than what you
Yeah.
found it to
Yeah.
be. Fantastic.
and also if you think about entrepreneurship, right, fundamentally it's about seeing something and trying to solve, right? And hopefully solving it in a way where, apart from making money, there's also certain purpose behind it,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So profit with purpose sort of thing, right? I think today most entrepreneurs recognize this, right? And,
Yeah. So let me go to Swati, and then I'm going to come to you. So Swati, you have seen many generations. Your family has been in business for a number of generations. So BML is Brij Mohan Lal ji, I can call him G. When they started their business, were they thinking about CSR? Or is it the young folks, now that we have privilege, you can take the money they made with their sweat and blood and you're just giving it away?
So thanks for asking that question. And, I talked a little bit about it in the morning as well, that the DNA of CSR was built at the time the business was being set up. So even when you look at the first bicycle that was made, it was not made thinking it will make money and profits. It was made thinking, how does it change the life of a common man? And how can it be made to meet the needs of the common man in terms of pricing, durability, quality, all those parameters. So, so I think this came really from they were the four brothers who set up Hero Group, from their mother, from their parents actually, of making sure that the idea of giving back to the society is inbuilt as part of the DNA. And so we have inherited it actually. I don't think our generation, of course, is gone through the best of places to study, and we've been lucky to have access to good quality education, access to doing many things that they didn't have. But that also brings a lot of responsibility for our generation to make sure that we treasure it and build on it.
Fantastic. So that actually brings a really important point, which has stuck in my mind, that I think we are creating this dichotomy for no reason. Like something is social impact, other things are not. Every business has an impact because they are solving a problem, right? So when your father and grandfather started this thing and said, we need to create this indigenous bicycle, which is going to, that's impact. I always ask this question, so maybe I'll ask you this question. Who do you think has created more impact? Steve Jobs or the Nobel Prize winner Satyarthi Dasji, who is about child welfare?
I mean, thanks for that question. But no, I think impact is made in different levels, right? So I think if you look at impact investment or the impact you're giving, I think, it's a very leading question. So I think Steve Jobs has made an impact in the sense where people are earning a livelihood. It is a business, it's growing. So it's not just the employees, but also the investors. It's a whole ecosystem that he sort of created around it.
And to say that, to have a child with an iPad in India and Africa, the same iPad that Steve used himself, I think is remarkable, isn't it? I think the educational opportunities that this has created are immense. So I think we need to broaden our thinking of what is impact to include things that we do. So please continue. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I think, again, it's not just the employees, but it's also the people who are using it and the investors. It's a whole ecosystem around it that are benefiting from this. So I think businesses, in their own sense, are also sort of solving issues and sort of closing that cycle.
Yeah. So I think of, except for a few things, I think of most things as impact. Okay. A few things, maybe cigarettes, I won't call it impact, although some people would disagree with that. But most things, most products we are creating are solving some problem that people are willing to pay for. So I think that is impact as well. I promised you that I'm going to reach to the audience. So can we go to audience questions? And if they don't have enough questions, I have more. So if you have a question, please raise your hand. Can we give a mic to people who are asking a question? And there are 2 rules for asking a question. You ready for the 2 rules? Your first statement should end in a question mark. Cannot be a statement. And there should be no second statement, okay? This is not the forum to talk about what you have done in your life. When you are here, we will do that. But this time, just make it short because we have only 15 minutes left. Yes, sir. Just tell us your name and your question, please.
Okay, my name is Sammy, and such a wonderful discussion. Short question, quick question. Why is CSR only for not-for-profits? Why is it not for for-profits organization?
Okay, very good question. This is sort of what we were talking about. Why should we think about CSR only for non-profits? Can I answer this question? You're right, it doesn't have to be. I think CSR should be for anybody. And I think that's partly what Anisha was referring to. That's partly what Swati was referring to as well. That it should be ingrained. I think that's what Swati said, that, from the very beginning, it was ingrained in the family that we are doing this for society. It's not just to make money. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it is ingrained, but I think the reason probably is, the for-profits have sort of an ongoing, steady sort of support, and I'm sure they are getting different sort of variations of support, but I think the non-for-profits don't really have that base of foundation. So I think it is a good question, and I think the idea is to sort of bridge that gap, right, of how do we sort of reduce the disparity, I guess, between the two. And even create some sort of strong foundation for the non-profits, so then you're not choosing them just because of disparity, but because of sort of what they stand for.
Yeah. So let me say one more thing. There is a tension though, right? In other words, all for-profit companies can't just say that we are only going to do stuff that is good, because sometimes there's a cost you have to pay for it. So if you're here tomorrow, I'm going to talk about this tension between for-profit and non-profit and how to mediate that. It's a very good question, and I think we need some work on that. Other question? Yes, sir. Let's give him a mic.
Good afternoon, sir. When few companies doesn't have any impact on the human life in India, why the government and then people not questioning the existence of those companies, like cigarettes?
The companies that do not have impact? Sorry, I didn't understand.
Have impact, but negative impact. We don't find any positive impact on the people's life and living system.
Okay, one of you will have to repeat this question because I didn't. Did you understand the question? Okay, let's try it one more time. You are asking this question that why are we not paying attention to some companies who are what?
Few companies which doesn't have any impact on the human life and living standards and living system. Why don't we question the primary existence of those companies?
You are saying those companies that do not make any impact at all, why don't we question them about their existence? Is that correct? Is that the question? Okay. Tobacco, for example. If you know there's a company that's not making any impact, it's only making money by preying on our instincts, so to speak, our bad instincts, should we allow them to exist? This is a very difficult question. What do you think? Anybody wants to take a shot at it? MSR, looks like you are ready.
So I put it this way, right? I think, unfortunately, life is never binary, right? It cannot be a 0-1 thing, right? Right? So the way I would respond is, there are people who, like to smoke, right? And who are we to define morality and say they shouldn't do this? We shouldn't become a Taliban, okay? I mean,
Yeah.
if you get what I'm saying.
So MSR, I think his question is this. Can we prejudge people before they have done something, whether it's good or not? In other words, who's to decide what is good and what is not, right? That's the question, and it's a difficult one. So I'll take the example of cigarettes. I've been saying, I used to smoke and I don't now. Why am I to tell a woman in a village who's sick, who's smoking a bidi at the end of the day, that she should not be smoking, right? So it's a tough question. I think the best is for us to not prejudge, allow it, and if the society deems that it is not good, they will go out of business because nobody will buy their products, right? But I am appreciating your question. It's not a simple one, but it's a good question. Yeah.
I'm next. My question is.
Where are you?
Yeah.
Where?
My question is, why are corporates afraid of investing in the arts?
Why are corporates afraid of investing in the arts?
So I can't speak for all corporates, but I can speak for mine. So I'm part of Transworld group. So actually, it is almost part of our DNA, and that's something that we take quite strongly as a family. So for us, one of our key key things that we look at in terms of CSR as well as philanthropy is actually Indian arts. So whether it's music or whether it's actual art on a canvas, I think that's something that we do look at in terms of sort of preserving and conserving our culture. And I think that is something that's growing as well. So it's not a sort of small space, but it's not a core component, but it is something that is increasing and people are looking at.
Swati, you have something.
So, you have asked a good question, but I want to answer in two ways. One is at Hero Group, we run one of the largest arts festival in the country called Serendipity Arts in Goa. And that is a complete philanthropic activity. And it started a couple of years back, and now it's become one of the largest festivals, attracting, it's not just performing arts, it's in various different forms, and art can be seen in many other things. So I think, but to answer your question why corporates don't, I give you an answer that corporates, some do as well. But reason they don't is because I think a lot of philanthropic is actually connected to what excites you as an individual. And in a country like ours where there are so many problems at the grassroots level, there people don't have food, people don't go to schools, people don't have livelihood. There are so many fundamental problems that when you start thinking of that, then others take a back seat. However, arts, the two can be integrated because there are lots of artists in the country who also need livelihood, who also need to be brought back to the mainstream. Otherwise, we lose that culture, which is very important. So, I think that's
I think, Swati, that's a great answer. So let me echo what you said. I think when you said corporates are not interested, you didn't literally mean nobody is. I think what you meant was not enough corporates are interested. And I think what Swati is saying is that it's changing, but we need to change the way we think about it. We should not think about art only as luxury. I think if we somehow weave this into our daily life and business, I'm just rambling, okay? But I have a thought here. In fact, at ISB, we are just about to start a program for artists, entrepreneurs. So we want artists to be sustainable. And I think if we make progress there, perhaps we'll see more of it. Also, I think, what's your name? Sorry? Asavari. Okay. The other thing is, in this country, when I was growing up, art was never encouraged in school, right? It was all about math and science and commerce. And I think the new generation is thinking differently. So I think we need to integrate art in our lives, and then we are more likely to see it. But thank you for that question. I think we need to do more. Were you going to say something, Gopal? Or shall we go to another question?
No, I just thought that if we can twist that to what Swati said, it's about protecting our culture, enhancing our culture, then it is really, really something I think all of us should open up to. I was also triggered today by the Honorable Minister that we talk about education, we talk about healthcare, but we don't talk about sports so much. I think that's one area we should invest, because sports is something which can keep our youth engaged, healthy. Today we see our youth getting distracted with phones, all kinds of abuses and all of that. If we get them onto sports, I think we would have done a great service to the society by engaging them in a healthy sports and other activities. So I think that's the good thought, and it is really triggered in a different way for me from that question for me.
Okay. I think, Anisha, you wanted to say something about this, or no? We can go to the next question. Okay, good question. But this audience is not glued to the phone. You know that, right? Okay.
Hello. Hi. Can I ask my question?
Tell us your name and your question.
Yes. My name is Divya Datta, and my question is just for the panel, whoever would like to take it. What are some of the fault lines that you still see in CSR funding and how it's done? And what kind of trends would you like to see moving forward in Indian CSR, given the potential of it?
You violated it. I will answer only one question. Okay,
so you can take the second one, please, which is what kind of trends would you like to see in Indian CSR to make it more strategic and kind of amplify the impact of its funding?
Okay, what can we do, Amisa? What can we do to get around the fault lines and perhaps do more? What is the trend? You go.
Sure. Divya, thank you for that question, because this is something which, so some of you may be aware, there was a amendment to the Companies Act, something called Schedule 7, which allows now for companies to go beyond the traditional sectors they fund in and also fund innovation, right? And I'll connect the two. India is now ranked 41 in the World Innovation Index. There's a body called WIPO which does this ranking. We're ranked 41, and even very small countries like Armenia, Estonia, which we'll struggle to place on a map, are ahead of us, right? Switzerland is number 1, by the way, right? So I think one of the things is also for solving many of these SDG related goals, innovation is required, right? And I think one of the things which hopefully we'll see as time goes on is for corporates to also look beyond the traditional education, healthcare, agri type of investments they do through CSR, but also look at funding innovation, which will solve, some of it could be deep tech, type of thing, but also fundamental shifts in how some of these things are done. For example, in healthcare and so on.
So I think integration is key. Divya, right? Divya Datta?
Yes, that's right.
Sorry. Yeah, I'll come to you. I promise. Okay. I think integration is key. I'm reading Elon Musk's biography by Walter Isaacson. It's fantastic. When you ask Elon Musk, he says, I'm going to look at space travel, right? But he says, I'm going to make this in such a way that is sustainable. that I can also make money off it because I'm not going to ask for subsidies. I think that's the thinking we need to make this integration so that it also is sustainable. So I think we'll be able to do more of it. So if you haven't read that book, I encourage you. The lady in the back with the white, this thing, please go ahead. Were you looking at the phone while you were doing this or no?
No.
Okay, all right. Just kidding.
I'm Sudeshna. I'm from Dignity Foundation. Sir, by profession, I'm a gerontologist, and since the last 2 years, I'd been coming here for this.
You are violating
summit.
my rules, but please ask a question.
Yeah. So why is it that not enough emphasis has been given on elder health care? Because that's an inevitable part of life.
Okay.
And I'm
why
not finding
are we
any
not?
thing on
We heard
that.
your question. Why are we not doing enough for people who are getting old like me?
Thank you.
Gopal.
I mean, in CGI, we have been doing some work for the elderlies. So we have funded old age homes. We provide a number of support, whether it is food or other thing on a regular basis to old age homes. So that's one. But I think old age is still not being considered as a big problem in India. I think it is time that we need to create more awareness about it and provide more support. Personally, I feel that many of our elderlies are suffering wherever they are, and we need to really look at, it's a good point, I think that's something we can add. Maybe CSRBOX can also help in creating the awareness. Yeah.
Okay, can I give a different answer? I'll give you a different answer. Even though I'm getting old, I will tell you, if you have 100 rupees, should I spend it on people like me, or should I spend it on the younger generation that has much to lose? I'm not convinced that this whole thing that we need to live longer and therefore we need to take care of the old people, we need to rethink it. I think we have lived our lives, we have done well. Let's pay attention to the young people.
Professor, one last question.
I appreciate it. I'm with you. I don't remember names and faces of people. I'm worried about dementia, but I'm still of the opinion that don't pay attention to me.
Professor, I would like to ask one concluding question genuinely. So
we have 5 seconds
just
left.
Last question within 5 seconds. So how long is it since we can expect leaders in CSR coming from social and humanities sector? As long as we are expecting leaders
I
from
think it has
corporate
happened
sector.
all right. We saw the bunch of awards, a lot of them there.
Leaders in CSR, people from corporates have been speaking, but I also expect.
Very good question. Yeah. Come to my class tomorrow. I address this issue. Our time is up. I'm just going to give quick 10 seconds to each one of them and say something personal about them. What makes you happy other than your work? What is your... I want you to know these people a little bit more, right?
Yeah, I think non-CSR related and non-sort of profit purpose related, what makes me happy is I'm a water person, so anything to do being in the ocean with coral reef and
She
fish.
loves to be in the ocean and she gets close to the nature. Fantastic. MSR, what do you do beyond this thing that makes you happy?
I like to read.
He likes to read. And I know about you. You're a cyclist, aren't you? And a marathoner.
I'm a cyclist, I'm a marathoner. I just did a Berlin Marathon about 2 weeks back. And I'm also a yogi for the last 15 years, so I really enjoy all of these. That makes me more complete as a human.
And I know you. You're a Kathak dancer. Are you still doing Kathak? Okay.
I've learned to appreciate classical music.
So what do you do for fun? What makes you joyful?
I listen to classical music all the time. It's on
Listen
in my
to
office.
classical music. So thank you all very much. Thank you.